Hey guys, welcome to Code Box Automation Lab. This is Sharful. In this lecture, we're going to learn test plan versus test strategy. We'll see what is test plan, what is test strategy, and there is a template, according to test plan and test strategy. We'll see some of the example of the template for both test plan and test strategy. Let's deep dive. So, what is test plan and what is test strategy? It is a very common interview question, and a lot of times we get confused between the test plan and test strategy. Here is a very simple differences between test plan and test strategy. We'll try to figure out and understand that in a real life world what's really happened. So test strategy. So what is test strategy? It is a document and defines at organization level. It means it is some sort of document, large document, and it's usually is created in organization level. It means if the organization is a big organization, say IBM, Google, so for big organization, usually it is a very common practice to create a test strategy. Other hand, test plan, it is a document. So test plan is also document and defined at project level. So it is an individual document that's created for individual project. Okay, so if we see in this picture, let's see. So here is a test plan. So test plan usually in organization level. Organization level is created. Example, it's say IBM. IBM. Okay, so IBM, so if it's a company, right, so or Google, so for those big company, they will have a test strategy. Okay, test strategy. So it is an organization level, and so it's whatever the test plan will see that is what is defined, what is mentioned, what is included in test strategy soon. But whatever the stuff is going to be in test strategy. And based on that test strategy, there will be test plan will be created for individual project. So for a big company, they will have a number of project usually. So whatever the number of vertical project they would have, for each and every individual project, there will be test plan. So this is a test plan for based on the. So this is a test plan. Okay. So this is a test plan. So the test plan for each and every, so project 1, project 2, project 3, project 4, and so on. So each and every project there will be test plan, and this test plan, it is also document that contain inside the test plan will use by referring from the test strategy. So test strategy, it's like a very generic, in a document in an organization level. We'll see what kind of document. Okay, so and then from there, those reference, those document, those contain will get refer when there will be individual test plan will create for individual project. So that's why test plan, it's usually defined in the project level, is defined in the project level, and the test strategy defined in the organization level. Okay, I hope that it's very clear. And this is the very common, this is a scenario for big organization, for a big company. It's a little bit different when you talk about a small company. We'll come to that point. So now I hope that you understood that. So what does it mean organization level, and what does it mean in the project level? Okay, now next point is test strategy. It is a vision of testing. It defines test object, general test approaches, test data, testing tool, environment, defect management process, test metrics, risk analysis, and mitigation and reporting at organization level. Again, since test strategy is a organization level very generic document, like very standard sets of document for about what? About a what is the objective of the test, what is the vision of the test, what would be the test approach, like what kind of approach we'll have in our, no matter what test project we're going to do, what test plan we're going to create, it will be whether it will be manual, automation, API, or backend testing, whatever it is. So it will be mentioned in the test strategy, and using that reference for any specific project, when we're going to create a test plan, we'll get the reference. Okay, from our test strategy we're supposed to do manual, so we'll have test plan should have a manual. If it's an automation possible to do for any specific project, for that, according to that project, the plan we're going to create, it will mention also. So you are using reference from your test strategy. So this approach will be mentioned over here. What would be the test data policy? Okay, for doing a test execution or writing test cases, you need a test data. So sometimes you use a dummy data, or sometimes you need a real life production data following the company's guideline. So if the company allow some real life data, it will mention over here that, okay, what would be the policy of the test data, what kind of guideline we have to follow to get some real life data. And then what kind of testing tools we're going to use for manual testing, for automation testing, so it will be mentioned over here. What would be the number of environment we're going to use? Okay, so you could have a QA environment, you could have a QA staging environment, you could have a release environment, okay, and then the production environment. So if you have a number of different environment, so it will be mentioned over here. And again, when you're going to create a test plan for a specific project, we'll refer that, okay, the mention, it's the environment mentioned in the test strategy. So that's why it is a test strategy. It is in organization level document. And also defect management process. What would be the defect management process that we're going to follow? When you file a bug, how you take the ownership of the bug, all those things. And test metrics, what kind of different test metrics we're going to follow, like the QA process metrics, the product quality. There's a number of different type of metrics that we usually use to define your quality process, how good your quality process, how good your product, right? It's like pass rate, fail rate, execution rate, then defect discovery rate, defect dissenting rate, and defect leakage rate, number of strategy. So what would be the test and the matrix we're going to use? It will be mentioned over here too. Risk analyze and mitigation. There will be common risk analyze we can generate. It will be included in test strategy, and also the mitigation, how we can overcome that kind of risks, like environment related risks, right? So the data related risks. If you don't have enough data or related data, then your testing execution will be in risks. And what will be the medications, solution, okay, the performance related risks. So all those different kind of very high level generic risks and medication will be mentioned over here in the test strategy. And what would be our reporting process? Like, so if you use any external reporting tools, you can mention that one too, in a inbuilt reporting. And what is the process, like after you create a report, what different level stakeholder you have to share, everything will be mentioned over here. So those are the very this is the ideal structure of your testing process, testing tools, everything's in an organization level, okay. And on the other hand, now we're talking about test plan, which is very specific for a project. It can be vary project to project, but most of the time it will follow the test strategy. So what would be the test plan? So that's why test plan is it's called a blueprint or guideline for a specific project that describe test scope. For a specific project, it have to be mentioned the test scope, like the test execution scope, out of scope, so all of the function, everything probably will not able to test. So you have to make it clear over here because this is very specific project we're talking about the test plan. So it had been mentioned that, okay, for this project, what is our out of scope, what is our in scope for execution, creating test cases. Then what would be the specific test approach, like manual, automation, API, because over here in test strategy, it is giving you all of the strategy, like your test approach, and over here it have to be more specific for that specific project. And also testing type you have to mention over here for test plan, like your functional, what kind of testing types you are going to execute, implement in this specific plan. Like could be the you will do some sort of definitely functional, some non-functional security testing, right? Some performance testing, some could be integration test, smoke regression, UAT, whatever the number of tests you are going to perform, during this specific project. For this test plan, you have to mention over here what will be the resources for your hardware resource, your software resource you require, your skillful human resource, everything you have to mention for in this test plan too. Because and also the test coverage, what would be your test coverage that you have to mention, because this is more specific for a project. So you have to mention that what would be your test coverage for this specific test cases, specific test plan or a specific project. What will be the exit criteria, entry criteria to start your test creation, execution, and also what will be your exit criteria. It means when you can define that you are good to go, your execution, your test, you have a good number of test cases, you are done with the project for execution or creating test cases. So there will be some, you need to know more specific, some concrete ideas, some guideline that can follow, and using that guideline you can say, okay, I have a good number of test cases and I'm good with that for this project. And what would be your test deliverables, right? So what is the test deliverable, like test execute, test creating test cases, execution, then report, all those are deliverable, right? So what will be your milestone for this specific project, all those things. You're scheduling to intend to performing different testing activities during the whole test life, whole project level, whole project flow, right? So all those things have to mention in the test plan. In fact, it is a template to let other stakeholders know what testing team is doing and how they are doing for a specific project. So test plan, it's a guideline, it's a template, and lets all of the stakeholders know what the testing team is doing, how they're doing for each and every different testing activities in different testing phase for a specific project. Okay, and those things, all the document things will use the reference from the test strategy over here. Like whatever you think about, talk about the testing process, testing types or test data, everything will be referred from over here. But it can be a little bit different because every project is different. But overall, most of the document over here, the content will be get referred from the test strategy over here. Okay. The next point is test strategy usually does not change frequently, because this is a very generic, high level, organization level document. So you don't need to change in an organization level document. Better you are going to change in test plan level, because as I said, every project have a different behavior, different needs, and based on that you will change your test plan. So test plan can be changed over the time as project gets updated. Okay, and test strategy is for a big organization. Test strategy defines separately, usually for a big organization, as I said earlier. So if example, like your company is Google, your company is IBM or Microsoft, so those are the big company. They have a number of project. Always there is a the project vertical, it's number of project you will see. So usually for the big company, they create or they maintain a test strategy. But if it's a company is small, even I have seen the mid-sized company, they don't create a strategy. Other than what they do, they create a test plan and they make the test strategy as a part of the test strategy. So they create always test plan for every individual project, and inside the test plan, whatever the document they need from the strategy, it's they put it inside. So pretty much test plan is like a combination of test plan and test strategy for a small company. They don't create a separate test strategy. Usually for a small company, they don't do it. Okay, so that's one of the confusion raised. People they confuse. Okay, because in real life, if your company is small company, you will see that they always create a test plan for a project. but there is no test strategy. But we always talk about the strategy. So in fact, for a real company, you will see the test plan or test strategy pretty much the one thing they make it. Okay, and we'll see in a minute. There was one example. Okay, so that's the pretty much high level the difference between test plan and test strategy. Let's have template. Usually, for the test plan or test strategy, there is a standard template used based on those all the content they need. So let's see an example. If you click on over here, test plan template. Okay, let's open that. Click on there. You will find one example. So here is the test plan template. You can find here. Let me small that. You can find over here. You can see there's the features to be tested, which is like in scope. Okay, so there is a features not to be, which is out of scope. So you can see that this is the example. It's gonna be covered during the test execution or test plan. And here is the test level and testing types, like different type of test level and testing type is going to perform. So it is a test plan, right? And there is here, as you can see, test exit criteria. When at one point you can exit your testing. Test is finished and there are no functional bugs, and all remaining bugs have a low severity, and no more than 10% of medium severity are open. So this is some sort of test exit criteria, right? Suspension criteria, like what would be the some point there will be some blocking, right, in your testing, so you'll not able to execute everything. So what are the conditions that you will suspend some some of the execution for some of the test cases? So here is a mention. Test deliverable, like, so what are the objective, what are the mission, your final ultimate goal for a test plan? So it's like creating a test cases, filing a bug, and share the test summary report at the end, right? Test environment. So you see the test environment usually mentioned in test strategy, but over here it is mentioning here because mostly small or medium company, they use a test template, and from inside the test template, as I said, they use some of the content from the test strategy, which is like test environment. Over here you can see there is a different number of test environment is mentioned over here. And here next is estimation. Estimation also estimation is part of the test plan. You can see over here it is giving you some sort of estimation. You have to mention over here how long will take for different functional testing, right? So if you have to perform regression, how long will take, so you can, and for estimation there is a different number of way, there is a different number of the mechanism to estimate a project for doing a test plan. So that's a different topic. But as a usually senior QA or team leader manager, they are expert on the estimation. They usually do the estimation. Okay, so it will be mentioned estimation over here. Staffing and training, which is the part of the resources, right? Assumption is like you can see over here is saying developers backend and frontend deliver code related to the features. License for if you need a license for your testing tools or for manual or automation, it will be mentioned over here. Risks, here is a number of risks over here mentioned, including the risk mitigation, how we can overcome. Usually risks and risk mitigation, generic risks and risk mitigation mentioned in test strategy, but more specific risks and risk mitigation also mentioned for in a test plan based on specific a specific project, like what kind of risks we can face when we'll execute the test cases, right? And what would be the solution to overcome that, you will mention over here too. And the test reference, you can use what would be the different reference you need to do your testing, like you need a user store, clear user stories, you need a Figma design to see the UI design for different features, function, right? System design. So that those kind of reference. So this is a test plan. This is a very standard good test plan. You can say most of the you will see small to medium company, they will use this. Okay, and let's see the now example of a test strategy. Here is the test strategy. Since it is a document creates an organization level, you can see it will be more generic. Okay, you will see the document is scope, what kind of topic or ingredients we're going to talk, or content we're going to talk over here. So this is a document scope, and after that you will see it will tell you the project, not the project. Usually it will not mention the project, but it will take you more about the generic stuff like testing process. What would be the testing process, right? So testing process, here is a, if you make a standard, okay, for before it release, you want to make sure there will be 2 to 3 cycle testing have to be complete. Okay, so that time you can say, over here, this is a cycle 1, what you are going to do, cycle 2, what you are going to perform, and cycle 3, what you are going to perform too. Okay, it will be mentioned that time to testing process. And test approach, what kind of test approach your company level you have to follow, like whether it's everything manually or manual automation, API level testing, backend testing, you have to mention over here underneath. And then you can see test also metrics, measure and metrics, like the very standard number of metrics you are going to use. Say example over here, test coverage metrics, right? And then also test execution metrics, like execution rate, and then pass rate, fail rate. As I said, it could be, there is a number of metrics, defect density rate, defect fix rate, or a defect leakage rate, all different metrics, that very standard you will put it over here, and then from their reference, it will be mentioned in the test cases for specific, like how many metrics you are going to use for a specific project, you have to mention in the test plan. Then bug analysis, like what would be the process that you have to follow for the bug analysis, so it will be mentioned over here for your company's the policy for the bug analysis, right? How you are going to tackle the bugs. And then pass fail criteria also, right? And then this is, there is some extra more information could be added, like the severity level, what type of different severity level you are going to use as a status with your bug, like critical, high, medium, low. Some company they use just only high, medium, low, so you can mention over here too. Okay, and then scenario, this is the priority level, and then over here also the test type to be performed, the fully in scope, partial scope, out of scope. It is very generic idea. Okay, and also environment, what different type of environment your company allow or available that can be used for during the execution for any specific projects. Yeah, it could. Okay, so it would be mentioned over here too. Okay, and pretty much, and then responsibility metrics you can use, like different activities, for the different activities, the responsibilities for different stakeholder, like product owner, DevOps engineer, QA analyst, who's taking these responsibilities, so you can mention over here. Since this is a larger document, so it's give you a very standard, all the in-to-in testing, the process formula, the testing, the company is testing vision, it will be mentioned over here. So it will be not only the testing process, but also all different activities that will be empower the testing, and different stakeholder involved with the different all these activities. It will be also mentioned over here, like it will be very neat and clean, like who's going to handle this kind of things, who's going to test planning and estimation, who's going to do. Okay, is that a QA analyst or a test engineer or QA manager will do. So it have to mention, so that it is very neat and clean, guideline to everyone, so that there is no confusion. Everybody knows that who's their responsibilities what. Okay, so in this level, that in test strategy, it will be mentioned that there too. And then very generic risks and mitigation, and you can include it, the level of impact. Okay, so this kind of over here, it will be mentioned like very generic risks can happen, can raise to any specific project, for any project. In a specific project, and during this specific project, you may have a different, very specific risks and mitigation, but this is a generic that it means it can happen for any project. So this is very generic level. Okay, so those are pretty much, you can see that's the document. It's kind of big, larger document, that mentioned in a strategy. If you see notice that the difference, there's a number of difference. Like over here it doesn't mention that the testing type. So testing type, it's really vary for project to project. It didn't mention, like you'll see here in here you will see the in test plan it's mentioned, you will see the estimation. But in test strategy didn't say anything about the estimation, because it's estimation, you really need to come up with estimation for a specific project. So when you are going to make a plan, for a specific project, that time you have to estimate for that specific specific project. So there is no way you can estimate or mention estimation in the strategy level, right? So that's why there's a few things you will see the differences. Okay, but this is like this is like very standard. You can use up to even mid-sized company test plan. Okay, this is this template, and you can find it over here in our website. I will share the link in the description below, so you can go and download and you can use as a standard template. Okay, and here is there is a lot more over here. You can see I give an example, created a strategy for Amazon.ca. It is a strategy, so it means like it's mostly will follow this kind of template, but it also will add some of the things from the test plan too. You will you just feel free to go through over here. You can see there is a scope mentioned over here, test types mentioned over here, also test environment mentioned over here, test data, test automation, a different type of testing like test automation and test manual, right? And then this is one kind of summary, and then here is a risks and medication. There's a number of risks, and every risk there is a medication, it's mentioned over here too. So this is a very good solid example how we can create a test strategy. Overall that will cover pretty much everything except the test coverage, like how much the test coverage you are going to confirm, ensure for a specific product. That part is missing, and for real life you have to add that part too. Okay, so then you can say, because it's mostly like we're following nowadays is Agile. So Agile, we don't have that much time to create a separate test strategy and also test plan. So it's better to have the all very concrete information data that you need to cover in between your test different activities following the test cycle for a specific project. Then you can say that okay, we're creating a test plan or test strategy. So that's why we get a little bit confused, but there is a significant difference between test strategy and test plan when it comes to a big organization. I hope that it makes it a very clear idea, the difference between test strategy and test plan. That's all for today. Please share, like, and subscribe. Have a good one. Bye bye.